And I will be speaking about breaking down a massive structural shift inside the U.S. Department of Justice. That's right, DOJ. Hey there, Teresa. The creation of the National Fraud Enforcement Division, NFED, or NFED. NFED. You can say that. It's easy enough. So, with that, let's go ahead and get ourselves situated. And, oh, I want the other one. I don't like that. I don't like that either. I guess I'm stuck with this one for now. Okay, we'll go with that for now. So, now I need the deck to be bigger. Hold, please. Yeah, a little bit better. Oh, it's about the same. I'm so bright. Oh, hey. Let's see. We'll go with this one for now. Okay, so what we're covering is the United States Department of Justice, DOJ, structure into several major arms, which I'm referring to it as the DOJ umbrella effect. Dun, 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 dun. That's right. Law enforcement agencies, litigating divisions, and specialized offices. First, these are the primary investigative and correctional arms of the federal government. These Federal Bureau of Investigations, the principal federal law enforcement agency for investigating violations of federal criminal law and national security threats. So we know of the FBI. We've heard about it very much in the news in the last several years and the last several months and the last several days for that matter. But they are now under the DOJ as well as DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, right? Hey, Auntie M, how you doing? Enforcing the controlled substances laws and regulations of the U.S. That's U.S. of A. Also ATF, which something I found out recently is called Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. They didn't add the extra word into the acronym because we're so familiar with ATF, but they cover explosives too, something I did not know. Protects communities from violent criminals, criminal organizations, illegal use of firearms, acts of arson, and explosives. So you've seen a lot of stuff about explosives in the news, overseas, in our own country. So it's concerning, but at least now we have a home for this group that manages that under the ATF arm, under the DOJ umbrella effect. Also, we have the U.S. Marshal Service, USMS, protects the federal judiciary, operates the witness security program, apprehends federal fugitives, and manages seized assets. And don't forget, in my episode title, Hunting for Fraudsters, DOJ's new weapon. Oh, something to be holding out for. And we have BOP, Federal Bureau of Prisons. Wow. Houses and rehabilitates individuals convicted of federal offenses. Well, that'll be interesting. What kind of people are in there? Trilla? Not yet. I don't think so. Anyway, then we have the litigation division. Okay, so we have that. These divisions based primarily in Washington, D.C., of course. Main justice, as referred to, represents the federal government in court and enforce specific areas of federal law. Sorry about the reflection of my glasses. I can't read and tilt. Antitrust division promotes economic competition by enforcing antitrust laws. That's important. Civil division represents the U.S. government, its departments, and agencies in civil litigation. So that's good focus. Civil rights division. Finally, sounds good to have civil rights protected here, or a division covering just specifically civil rights. This group enforces federal statutes prohibiting discrimination based on race, color, sex, religion, disability, and other protected groups. Without listing them all here, those are the main ones that we're all accustomed to, but keep in mind there are several others. The criminal division very important, develops enforcement, policy, and prosecutes federal criminal cases not handled by specialized divisions or U.S. attorneys. Now, we all have U.S. attorneys in each of our states, so they have an important role. They are decision makers, don't forget. And then we also have under the litigating division, NSD, the National Security Division, coordinates intelligence and law enforcement for counterterrorism, a very important topic these days. Espionage, I think James Bond immediately, and national security threats, which probably we're not even aware of all of them that come through the Oval Office or our government, but I'm sure there's plenty of them. And the ones that we do know that do make the news, they're scary. So I'm really glad that we have the NSD in place. We also have a tax division specific toward handling civil and criminal legal matters involving federal tax laws. So if you don't file your taxes or you file them without what? If you file them incorrectly, meaning you're hiding something, not so much you did it wrong, but if you obviously made a mistake that you intended to make, then you're going to be in trouble with the IRS. So you really need to do your taxes to the completely and correctly, or have some do them for you. Moving on with the DOJ umbrella effect, we have the Field Prosecution and Legal Administration. U.S. Attorney's Office. Here we go. 94 offices across the United States and its territories responsible for prosecuting criminal cases, defending the federal government in civil court, and collecting debts owed to the government. Dun, 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 dun. So if you owe money to the government, those U.S. attorneys will be coming knocking on your door. Executive Office for United States Attorneys, EOUSA, I like it, provides administrative support, coordination, and oversight to the 94 United States attorneys. That's more than one per state. Office of the Solicitor General represents the U.S. government before the Supreme Court of the United States. So, good place to have a Solicitor General between us and the Supreme Courts. Next section is grant making, public safety and community offices. Office of Justice Program, OJP. I think you've all heard of that, or you're thinking about the NASA one in California. That's possible too. Jet Propulsion Lab, that's JPL. Provides federal leadership, grants, and resources to state, local, and tribal criminal and juvenile justice agencies. So if you're affiliated with any of those, not in a bad way, but in a good way, be aware OJP could be your best friend. So if they're providing grants, you may want to reach out to them. Grant writing, I've done in the past. It's not that easy. There's a lot of documentation or red tape. But if you put your nose to the grindstone, so to speak, you will get one sent in and potentially approved more often than not. So it's well worth your time to research online and check out the OJP website, because I'm sure there is one. Office on Violence Against Women, OVW. Now, that's really important these days and always in the past too, right? We've seen a lot of victims that are women as well as men that need assistance and protection. And that's what this group does. Administers justice law grants and programs focused heavily on domestic violence, dating violence, SA, and stalking. So I should have said DV, sorry. But you can see where these, even the DV double, dating violence. That's important, right? Because you can get yourself in trouble just by going on a first date and having the wrong things happen. And next thing you know, behind bars you go. And that, again, goes both ways. Men, women, men, women, women, all kinds, right? So just be aware that the OVW specifically against women, but I'm sure they touch on these other victims also. And if they don't, they really should, right? But of course, their main focus is about how women are being taken advantage of, abused, those kind of things. So I'm grateful that they're in place, probably a long time coming. Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, COPS. Well, that's easy. Advanced community policy policing practices nationwide. Okay. So there's a central group that provides information to all the law enforcement around the country, and they are obviously nationwide. And they probably reiterate the same thing over and over, meaning they provide it to all the different states. So they're all getting the same information. And I'm sure they're more than happy to listen to viewpoints from the people. So if you want to contact them, that might be a good place to start in getting your work, getting your thoughts out in the government. And later on, I'll provide you with a bunch of addresses that you can mail to, because it's always good to do a hard copy mail, as we've learned in the past. And again, these are all under the DOJ umbrella, right? So I want to keep that in mind. Interesting. Let me share this with you from one of our viewers, Teresa. If you have complicated and shady financial records and need your taxes done, H&R Block is a great place to fake that you can go to have them filled in. Isn't that nice? Thank you for that little promo there, sister. Yeah. There's several other private firms you can go to, as well as family members who are tax intelligent. Next section would be leadership and oversight offices. Office of the Attorney General, AG, and Deputy Attorney General's DAG, DAG. Executive leadership, steering policy, operational direction, and overall administration of the department. So they're managing and maintaining things so that things are running smoothly throughout. Office of the Inspector General, OIG. We've heard that before, especially in press briefings or even just in the news in general. An independent entity that investigates waste, fraud, abuse, and misconduct within DOJ programs. So they're the watchdogs of the group under this umbrella, right? They're managing and watching and checking things out and probably investigating quite a few also. You never know. Not to say the DOJ is causing any issues or doing anything wrong, but it's always good to have someone watching over and making sure the processes and procedures are followed to the letter, especially in our own government. Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, provides authoritative legal advice and opinions to the president and executive branch agency. So President Trump and his government staff do receive some assistance through the OLC via legal counsel. So if they get themselves in a situation, or if they just have questions, they're available to them. And it's important to do that because you know what? People can say things off the cuff and end up getting a big smear, or I should say, in trouble with that online, or even in general, because you see it in the news reports all the time. So just to make sure everything is copacetic, they have the OLC in place to make sure that they are staying on the correct lane. Pro tip. Justice Management Division, JMD, acts as the administrative and management arm overseeing budgeting, personnel, and technology. So they have multiple administrative groups, but they're each are focused on different areas of under the DOJ umbrella, you understand. So that's important that we do have these groups in place. They're not a waste of money or time. Again, watchdogs. You got to have somebody in place watching what's going on, because when you're doing the work, as you all know, when you're doing your job, it's hard to step back and look at the bigger picture or be aware of it. So having supervision or anyone monitoring you is to your advantage. So you should think of it as a positive. The National Fraud Enforcement Division, NFED, was initially announced by President Trump administration on January 8th, 2026. This I missed. I had a cold that day, so I apologize. But it was just the beginning of this year. Its formal establishment and operational rollout were finalized shortly after via an internal Department of Justice memorandum issued by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche on April 7, 2026. Now, he's been in the news, as we know, but I digress. President Trump's administration created a new standalone litigation division within the U.S. Department of Justice called the National Fraud Enforcement Division, NFED. And on the following, we will share with you key details about the division. Dun, 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 dun. Ready? Here we go. Establishment and purpose. Formally set up by the DOJ via memorandum, the NFED is designed to centralize and aggressively target fraud involving taxpayer dollars, federal programs, benefits, healthcare, such as Medicare and Medicaid, businesses, and nonprofit. Somewhere in there, we all fall, right? We all fall in there somewhere. So, not us directly, but people we work for, our own businesses, that kind of thing. So, it's important to understand that there's now a specific division, NFED, that is focusing on these areas. So, if you don't want to be in hot water, be cognizant of what you do. Next is the consolidation of units. The division took over operational control of several existing components from the DOJ Criminal Division, including the tax section, the healthcare fraud unit, and the market, government, and consumer fraud unit. So they've pretty much consolidated all the units, you see. And so consolidating all of the units keeps them all focused and following probably similar, if not the same processes when investigating any of these areas. Leadership, of course, it is led by an assistant attorney general at G with nationwide jurisdiction over fraud, investigations, coordination, and prosecutions. So, next to that is structure and coordination. The initiative also requires every U.S. Attorney's Office nationwide to designate an embedded prosecutor to interface with the division alongside the creation of a centralized national fraud detection center or to generate data-driven investigative leads. It so makes perfect sense, right? Think of a database. If everybody's populating all their information into one database, then you have one source of truth. As long as it's secure and protected from hackers, that would be an awesome database to access from around the country. Do you know what I mean? So if you're looking for somebody who's done a crime, you can punch in certain information, and next thing you know, you may have one, if not a few candidates, we'll say, that you can investigate. But if we do not communicate with each other around the country, you're not going to get anywhere. And as you know, I'm doing a missing spotlight series where I'm releasing or dropping videos every other day on missing persons that we're aware of. And I still ask every time, please keep your eyes and ears open. You never know what you may see or hear. And please contact your local law enforcement, your nearest FBI office, or your nearest American embassy or consulate for that matter. Any of these sources, as well as even your local law enforcement 911 call, because you can do the non-emergent call, right? So that's a data-driven investigative leads, right? So putting all your leads in there in one database or one centralized location, it allows everybody to access it. And I bet we're going to see some high percentages before too long. Again, the DOJ umbrella effect. All these divisions are under the DOJ now. So as far as contacting any or all of them, right? I wanted to make sure I documented and shared with you the DOJ headquarters for the leadership, litigating divisions, and public safety offices. This is about us, the people, don't forget. That's why they're in place, right? The main DOJ headquarters address is the U.S. Department of Justice, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20530-001. So it's not that easy to remember unless you wrote it down, but you can always join the replay crew and slide on over to that address and freeze frame and write that down. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, addressing any new issues, old issues, bringing things to light, DOJ headquarters, there it is. And you can also reach a specific leadership office, public safety bureau, or litigating division, such as criminal, civil rights, or national security. Include the specific division name on the first line of the address. So when you're addressing that address, U.S. Department of Justice, you want to lead that with criminal, civil rights, or national security, above, beyond, below. But that way they know where to redirect your letter to the correct division. So continuing on, major law enforcement and corrections arms. Because of their size and specialized, sorry about the small print, but I wanted to get it all on one page. Because of their size and specialized operations, the primary agencies operate out of distinct headquarters. For example, Federal Bureau of Investigations. Their address is 935 Pennsylvania Avenue, same everything else. You also have BOP, different address, meaning Federal Bureau of Prisons Central Office, 320 First Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., 20534. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA. Many of us have heard of that. They are located at 8701 Morissette Drive, Springfield, Virginia, 22152. And their motto is Get Smart About Drugs. And for Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP. Moving on to Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF. Their address is 99 New York Avenue, Northeast Washington, D.C., 20226. A lot of located in Washington, D.C., but just different addresses. You see that? U.S. Marshal Service, USMS. U.S. Marshal Service Headquarters, CG3 Stowe 1100350 South Edgewood Street, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27401. So they're not in Washington, but easily accessible via Greensboro, North Carolina. And I added a note. Main operational headquarters is located in Arlington, Virginia, but official mail routing varies by program. So don't expect an immediate response. You can also contact online to the White House and other of these agencies. I'm sure they're accepting online requests or emails, that kind of thing. I just listed the actual home addresses so you knew where they were located. And if you wanted to write something down on paper and mail it in, mail it in so they would have it in hand and have to address it that way, because if you have to open something, you got to address it. So I went through everything I wanted to share with you, and the DOJ's new weapon is the NFED, right? They are specifically focused on fraud, tax evasion, things along these lines that are very important in today's world, because we're losing a lot of money in the government, which turns out of higher prices that affects each of us as individuals. So if you're not one of them, please pat yourself on the back. If you are one of them and you're watching this, please correct the situation. I know the IRS is more than willing to work with people. I know many of these agencies probably are willing to work with people. So do your best for yourself and do the right thing. With that, I ask if there's any questions. If you have any thoughts, please drop them in the chat. We'll see what we can get. NTM, that's a fair question. I don't know, so I can't answer that. But if you hang in there in a few more streams, I will be covering that topic. So it'll be interesting, but I just wanted to give you that heads up. So you'll be watching for that stream when I post when I schedule it, I should say. So we also have another fun comment supporting that H&R Block and other tax people, right, that know what they're doing. Yeah, I think we need to throw you a couple bucks there, Teresa, because I think you're doing a great job of promoting without getting paid. It's much appreciated, trust me. And it's been rainy here in Arizona because August is monsoon season. So the other night we reached about 2 inches of rain downtown Phoenix in the valley. So in my area, we got wet, but it wasn't so bad, in my opinion. But I come from Michigan, so nothing looks bad out here. It's a lot easier living, let me tell you. Can't complain. But I did keep my umbrella, because it's useful and it's good for golf. Good, Auntie M. I like that. That's a good one. You are going to check out the website. You do have some ideas. That's what we want you to do. Our people need to speak up, and let the government know. Let your elected officials know if you have questions, comments, concerns, because many other people do too. Whenever I used to go into training sessions and there was a group of us, 30 or plus people, You knew there's several others who had the same question I did, but just were too afraid to ask or raise their hand. I would always do that. I know I get thanked afterwards because, oh, I was going to ask, but I'm so glad you did. Or I was thinking that same thing and I wasn't sure. And I'm like, yep, you know what? You just got to put yourself out there sometimes. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you get your hand slapped. But hey, that's life, right? Gotta love it. Kansas City, seventh day over 100 degrees. Ouch, Auntie M. We hit 113 2 weeks ago here in AZ. And I'll tell you, the weather, once your body acclimates to it, it doesn't mean that much. Do you know what I mean? Plus, you don't sit outside in it. You move from air conditioning to air conditioning environment, right? That's your best bet. So, what's fun is, yeah, Wichita. Yep, I've been there, drove through there. I did an assignment in Texas and had to deal with their muggy weather. And then we went through Kansas. And I can't even imagine the thunderstorms there. Sorry, the tornado season that you have there. If they're, I hope you aren't affected or have been affected negatively by any tornadoes. Those storms are awesome to watch, but not to be in. I really enjoy weather, especially with overcast skies, rain, thunderstorms, electric strikes that we get here in Arizona from the heat. They're beautiful to watch. I just don't want to be struck by one, you know? I think a lot of people can understand that. And maybe there are those that don't, but I do. Checking to see if there's any other comments from the other people that are here. Wondering if there's any other questions about the DOJ's new weapon that's in place. Want to be careful what you do with your finances and make sure that you know where they're at and reach out to any tax preparer because they're your best friend sometimes in these cases before the government comes after you. So, with that said, I want to thank you all for joining today. Was hoping it would be longer if we had more conversations going, but you know, sometimes it is what it is, so I can't complain. But I do want to also remind you one share could bring someone home. Again, missing persons could be found any minute of any day, and you never know where your tip might bring somebody home. So if you see something or hear something, please share that information with your local law enforcement. You never know what investigative tip will allow them to move forward or bring things back from a cold case status. We don't like those, not at all. And I'm also doing several other streams on some new topics. I'll be dropping the Murdoch trial hearing today that occurred most of the morning, afternoon. So I got that. I'm going to drop that as a video. I'm not going to do a live stream. It's too long. And then I have a couple others already done, ready to go. I just haven't scheduled them because I don't want to conflict with others. So hopefully, you're very welcome, ATM. So hopefully you'll see me soon. Maybe over the weekend I'll do one, and definitely next week I will do again, probably Monday. As long as I don't have a schedule conflict, I should be good to go. So with that said, thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate it. I wish it was going to be longer, but it is what it is. And I do appreciate your time. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Happy Friday. And who knows, we might see you over the weekend if any group streams go on. You never know. Okay, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Or should I say, bye for now.